We're gonna do a boho wreath. That's gonna match that ho-ho boho feel over there. Do you like the ho-ho boho tree? Yeah. This one's gonna be a little bit bigger. And this one's gonna be more traditional as far as shape goes. This is a 36-inch wreath. And all the cool stuff I think I'm gonna use, I've pulled. Okay. So I'm gonna start with the under. This is gonna be more traditional and all around, kind of evenly spaced. At least that's what is in my head right now. I love these. So this is gonna be a little bit bigger wreath, and I'm gonna add these in. I love these vines. They're kind of like a texturized vine. Very cool. This is gonna allow me to get a little more width on this wreath. So I'm gonna add this in, just in the fronds. Starting on the outside. So on these bigger wreaths, you'll have two, see at the back of this, you've got this outer and then you've got this inner. I'm going to start attaching this to fronds that are on that outer ring. Frond, like a frond with an F. Yeah. Yes. We're going to add the shrimp in. So I'm going to do this kind of looser, but I still want to anchor it as close to that spine as I can. That's just going to make it much more stable. We're going to see if I can. Okay. But it's very cool. Have you seen these out there? They're somewhere down, maybe the boho or the next aisle over. Might be down that aisle where that more natural tree is, that more woodsy tree is. But I love these. So this one I'm starting along the outside track. And I'm not doing it right up tight. I'm kind of looping it as I go, if that makes sense. I'll do the same thing with ribbon too. So you kind of see. So I'm going to take one more and start on that same outer track, that outer ring. Cut my label off. Loosen it up. This would be really cool just as a garland around a tree. If you were doing a really earthy natural tree, just that as your garland, and just swirl that around would be gorgeous. Okay. So find that outer ring again. I'm just going to take two fronds, two shrimp, and work those in. They're not boughs, they're fronds. Yes. Okay. And I keep getting tangled up over here. Just loosening it up as I go. When I get to where it's going to overlap, I'm going to move this into the inner ring, and that last one is going to go on the inner ring. So I have this texture all the way through. So here's where it starts to overlap, and now I'm going to move toward the inner. So I have this woodsy, twisty, viney look. And then this last one, we'll start on that inner. And I should be able to go all around. I think I could just hang this up just like it is. So it's really easy to take an inexpensive PVC wreath, that's what these are, just PVC, inexpensive, and then dress them up. There are some gorgeous ones that are pre-decorated. And those are easy. Maybe you just need to add some ribbon to it, or just add a few more berries to it, or just sell it as is. But anything that I buy that's kind of in that pre-made, I like to tweak it a little bit, because you all can buy the same thing. And I want to make sure that what is in my shop looks different than what might be in your shop, So I'm usually going to tweak it, even a pre-made. There's some really pretty ones with fruit, with magnolia and berries and cones I'm going to be using a little later. I'm just bringing this all the way around. Ooh, I like it already. Do you still get excited about what you do? I do too. You can have it in your head and then you put it together and you go, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And then I want to keep it, yes. You do an event, and most of the shop that I work at, I work for a very, very old shop in Dayton, Ohio, First Florist. We're 117 years old. And, you know, the nice thing about being in our industry is that every day is different. And Christmas, yeah, rolls around all the time, and you can just leave it just like that. Throw some cones in there, put some berries in there, all good. Okay. But we're going to boho it up a little bit. And I've got these silver dollar money plant, silver dollar-y things. And I'm probably not going to use as many as I pulled. And when I do, like you notice that I just spiraled this around. And you can definitely do that. But to add some dimension, I'm going to add this in, just tie it down, and then I'm going to pull half of it back and have it go the other way, okay? So I'm going to pull some of the fronds, they're still fronds. I'm going to pull some of them back and have them go the other way. You can do this with berries as well. So instead of having everything spiral in one direction, you now create a little more depth in your design. So it's actually going in more than one direction. Okay? So I'm going to do that with 2 more of these. I don't think I'm going to use all of them. But this is going to give you that bleached look. And we're going to add some artificial bleached looking things. Okay. So what I did when I laid that down is I actually took this part and I just bent it the other way. Okay? Same thing with a berry pick. And you'll just find it gives you more of that free flowing. I learned this by watching another designer. Love watching other designers. I'm all about learning new techniques. And I was actually doing a silk show in South Dakota. And the gentleman I was working with, Larry Kleinlein, I don't know if any of you know him, he would design showrooms for like Windward and Sullivan's and big, and he had to do things really quickly. So he would 2-to-1 me on designs that we would do. I'm like, how do you do that? And so where I would be cutting this apart into 2 pieces, he'd just be bending it back and sticking it in. And anytime you can save time, yeah, always learning, always learning. And then we're just going to position this all the way through, anchor it down here and there. It's like, this one, did I pull ribbon for? And then it's always the question, when do you add ribbon? Like, do you add ribbon at the beginning? Do you add ribbon after you've got your foundation in? And to me, it's all about at what layer do you want that ribbon to show? Is the ribbon the star? Is the money plant the star? Yeah. So I have ribbon, but may shift. Now the ribbon I pulled for this, I pulled for specific reasons. So I'll show you what I at least pulled if I choose to use it. This is that wool ribbon. I know. I'm like, oh, I might have to use it. Ooh, we're going to use it. Okay, good. So as I add this in, then I'm also going to add in this other ribbon. The other ribbon that's so cool that's on that boho tree is like leather. It's like faux leather. It's pleather. And it's white. And I did that because I added some of the white fir and the white pampas grass. And so we wanted to make sure that that stood out. So we're going to add this. I'm going to cut a piece and pass it around. It's like a teddy bear. So cool. So when I add this in, I want to make it a really organic. I don't just want to start and go all the way around to the end. So I'm going to start with a loop. I'm going to tuck that loop in between two fronds and just tie it down. And then pet peeve number 6,456, because I have a lot of pet peeves. But pet peeve on ribbon use in trees, on wreaths, is where you just go loop, 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 and then it's stretched. And you don't really see. So on the trees, when you look, and my favorite one is that, or my favorite use of ribbon is probably on the bejeweled tree in the front. That's one roll of that D. Stevens ribbon. Just one roll.
Oh, really?
That one roll.
On that beautiful,
On that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bejeweled tree. Yes. Yes, it's just one roll. There's the pleather. Yeah. So if you use ribbon strategically, like if I would have just taken that whole bolt of, D. Stevens ribbon is expensive, but it's luxurious ribbon. So if I would have taken that and just made a big bow with it, I would have used up that bolt of ribbon and you really wouldn't have seen it. But because of the way that I kind of just played and swirled it down through, you can really see every bit of that ribbon. So I'm tucking this in and I'm careful, like if it starts to get really tight when I cinch it in, I'm gonna leave it out and loop it more so you can really see it. Okay, that's also gonna give it a depth this way. So with this, I'm going to, I'm going to cut this and loop it so I don't have a tail. And I'm thinking about longevity in someone's home. If I have a tail of ribbon, sometimes that tail can fray and you might have to recut it. If I loop it, you don't see any of the tails. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just, okay. And then I'm going to start this again, leave a little bit of a break. And then start this again, same way. I'm going to make that loop. It's so soft. It's almost like, yeah. Right, right. So I'm going to start this. It's going to give me a position in a different position of where the ribbon starts and stops. So you don't see it continuous all the way through. Maybe this will be a little bit shorter run. Just loop that together and then find some fronds and that one I missed, so we'll just tuck that back in. We'll just tuck that one in. And then one last little section. And I'm making sure that I go from the inside to the outside and not just through the center. That's going to make it a little more visually interesting than just looped through the middle. Okay. It's like a little teddy bear. And then the other ribbon, I'm going to add in some of those kind of patinaed ornaments. So now I've got a base established. I've got some ribbon in here. Okay. I could stop at any time, but I'm not going to stop. So these, I also don't want, I want to make sure I bury these. I don't bury them, but I embed them into the wreath design so that they're not just balls on a wreath. I want to make sure that they're tucked in with other, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So this one, I've got some other things playing over the top of it, the other ribbon playing over the top of it, some of the vines playing over the top of it. So everything is very cohesive. Okay. And again, I might not use everything in this box, but this is an inspiration box. Okay. Same thing when I'm placing the balls. If I place them all in the same position on the wreath, like all down the dead center, not very visually interesting. So I've got one that's kind of toward the outer, one that's a little toward the inner. Might have two a little closer to... Nice catch! Nice catch. I am, you're right. So that's what we have, these vines that have a mind of their own. So this one is going to go right here. Now doing this on a pre-lit wreath, better be a really nice pre-lit wreath, because if you've ever tried to deconstruct and relight, it is not an easy task. Anybody try to unlight a pre-lit wreath?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, not fun.
Not at all.
Not fun. So these are kind of random placement, and right now it's way out of balance. It's making me itch, okay? Way out of balance. However, I have other stuff that's going to bring the balance back into balance. So we're going to put that like right in there. And usually what I'll do is I'll put two in, I'll hold them till they grip real well. Then I've got the opposite color combination. This is kind of that gray, but they look like metal. So these are going to go kind of opposite and balance out my balance. I'm going to put them in the middle so they don't fall. So I'm putting them in groupings, actually. So I've got a little one and a big one together. I might have a little one on its own somewhere. And a little one out here. And I'm holding that in while I dip the next one. And I pull that up and stick that right there, holding that one in while I dip the next one. Stick one right there. But it just gives you a nice intermediate. Once I add that sedum in, you'll see it kind of pull together. And I'm only going to add just a little bit of this, not a lot. I'll just tuck that in. And I'm going to show you this with just this ribbon in, and this ribbon by itself might look out of place until I get the sedum in. Visual study in repetition. So just this other little bit, I'm going to run right through this side. And it might pull out, you know, a little bit of some coloration in some of those ornaments, but until I get the sedum in, it's not going to tie it all together.
Did you get all your ribbon here?
All the ribbon is from here, yes. If you need help finding it, let us know and we'll point it out. So, and most of the ribbon is just right in that first alley down there. The fur ribbon and the faux leather ribbon and the D. Stevens Deluxe Gorgeousness ribbon. Okay. So this is just a little, one more piece. I'm going to add one more piece. Because it needs it. Yes, I will. I'm going to hold this up and it will be fine. And it kind of picks up the color of the branches. And it will be fine. It'll be pretty even. But it will be more unified and cohesive, and then it'll be that je ne sais quoi that pulls it all together. That I can't put my finger on it, but that was the issue, you know? Okay. So I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this up, and it does pull out some of the lighter colors in the branches. Okay, it's pretty. Yeah, I like it a lot. But now, when I add in this, and I'm going to do this in chunks, so I'm going to cut this into sections. This is really nice sedum with a hint of sparkle. And it's the only thing that's going to sparkle in this entire wreath, with the exception of that ribbon that has the hint of the gold on it. So I'm not only repeating the color of the ribbon, I'm repeating a hint of a texture sparkle. And I'm going to add this in. And then it's going to be like, oh, and the heavens parted, and no. And the angels sing, and everything just comes together. And this is a textural thing too. So we've got, you know, the textural contrast. Got the smooth ornaments. You've got the fuzzy furry. You've got the matte ribbon with a hint of a. You've got those ornaments that look like they're metal, like a patinaed metal. And I want to make sure I'm not just working top side. I want to make sure I'm working all the way around. Questions?
So do you start just by assembling your inspiration boxes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like in this one, knew I wanted to make a wreath that would complement that tree. And so what groupings of items, now try to get it out, because I want to move it over. What groupings of items, what collections, what textures. And when I put them together all in a box, you see things. What color am I missing? What texture am I missing? What's, if I only had that money plant in there and didn't have this fuzzy ribbon. You know, a money plant would be fine, but I need to repeat that color, or it looks like my eye is going to be drawn to that money plant only. But if I add in another element, then everything blends together. I'm not going to show this until I get all of this in. And, you know, personal taste is another thing altogether. You can say, oh, yeah, I like this tree better than that tree. This gold is my thing. Natural is my thing. And there is that as well. And at any point in time, you've seen them at every step along the way. You could have stopped at any point in time. Okay. Yeah? So the other stuff in the box I'm not going to use. Do you want to see what I had in the box? Yes. Okay. And I'm not going to do it, but so this, if I did this, how I would do it, and it would repeat this, but it would just be little clusters of, yeah, gonna do it. And then I had some other little accessories like snowflakes and stuff. The reason I'm gonna do this is I'm just gonna add a couple little clusters, and it's gonna repeat the color of the patina in that large patinaed ball. But I'm not gonna add all of it. I'm just gonna add little touches of it. And then you're gonna go, oh yeah, now I see why you did that. Maybe, that's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah, that's why I did that. So yeah, as you're assembling, you're going, that white is really nice, but man, it would be really nice if something else picked up on that white, and then it just draws everything together. And it's not, I know when I held up the entire stem, some of you are like, no, don't do that. But you'll see. It'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be lovely. Almost done. I had some wooden snowflakes. I have that really cool garland that you see spilling out of the boxes in that tree that's got the little pom-poms on it. But now like, yeah. See? And it ties it all together. Okay, now we're going to call it done. Okay, cool.